Hi, Sydney, Gareth, June, and Amy. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's symposium conversation regarding your collaboration for the new composition, Into the Kingdom, based on June Yokell's painting, Into the Kingdom. So I wanted to start by actually speaking with June a little bit about your artistic inspirations behind the painting, what you were thinking about, why you were inspired to submit it to Musaics, and all of that.
Um, well, I always used to take a lot of walks before I went to work, and I was lucky enough to have this beautiful area where I could go for a walk by the Corte Madera Creek. And it was there. I was just looking at it and thinking how beautiful it looked. And so I took a series of photographs as I was traveling along the path. And so then when I came home, I was looking at the photographs or maybe it was, I don't know, maybe a couple years later, I was looking at some photographs and I saw it and I thought, there's just something that draws me into this vision here. And so that made me want to paint this. So that's what I did. And I chose a longer format than I normally do, which is 60 inches wide. And because it seemed to embody the way the water looked there and everything. And I don't know why the word into the kingdom came into my head, those words. I think in what I sent you, that little version that I sent you. I mean, I'd heard those words before. I'm not religious. I'm not fluent in any kind of religious kind of thing, but it seemed like it was something that drew you into, if you want to call it the kingdom of God, into that space. So that's what I thought.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And I think that's a perfect segue to Gareth. So why were you inspired by this painting specifically for your piece for viola and cello?
Well, from what I just heard Joan say, I totally nailed the location of the painting, which is less than a mile from my home. Um, and the Corte Madera Slough is an estuary attached to the San Francisco Bay, just north of the city of San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge. And you know, June and I each have lived in Marin County for a long time, so you eventually get to know the territory. So when I saw the painting, there was an immediate resonance with the location. Um, Even though I didn't know exactly, it nonetheless was so evocative of this beautiful place in nature that we have so close to our houses. Um, and the title, Into the Kingdom, also spoke to me um, directly. And I just lost my electric plug. Sorry. Um, so the um, Into the Kingdom for me is suggestive of the kingdom of nature. So what I imagine as the setting of the piece is the beginning of a new day on the planet that we get to enjoy from this lovely location. It's got all these lovely elements. It has June is a master at capturing the atmosphere of the landscape that she paints. Uh, I've been her friend for many years and have had a chance to follow her work. And every painting she does has this incredible sense of presence and aliveness, um, and just captures the way I would see a scene. But she's also able to paint it. So we see the morning sun fill the sky overhead, a beautiful estuary, a canal flowing through it, fog clouds floating in from the ocean nearby, scudding across, and in the distance, beautiful rising sun, rosy and pink in the distance. So there, it's actually, I'm trying to be somewhat programmatic in the way I compose the music. So for example, it starts off with the string players playing open strings in an ascending sequence that I take as a metaphor for the rising sun. The next section is played solo ponticello, which gives a very thin sound because the bow's played very close to the bridge. And that would be representative of the fog clouds, the thin fog clouds floating overhead. And, you know, there are other programmatical elements, but I'm going to leave it to your imagination to figure that out. So this is also rather more of a romantic effort. I think of the romantic composers as the ones who are so smitten with nature. You think of Beethoven going for long walks in nature as an inspiration for his compositions. So this is me attempting from a 21st century perspective to reflect back on the romantic tradition, which is way out of character for me. Ordinarily, my music is mostly computer based.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so excited to listen to the recording that Sydney and Amy, you are creating together. And can you speak a little bit about the process of working on this piece together and bringing it into its very first performance, and also getting to work with each other in person and what that process has been like?
Yeah, well, it's been really great working with Amy. And actually, back in December, when we were first talking about doing this piece, I had emailed Mr. Loy and kind of asked about his inspiration and asked about the painting. And he told me that by his house, he had a view that was similar to the painting. So I had the unique opportunity to kind of drive across the Golden Gate Bridge and go to that area and kind of think, how can I embody this with the music? And we've just had a lot of fun with talking about different characters and how our parts interact with each other, and you know, who should be more prominent, or what type of sound we're trying to make, or what type of, like, there was a spot where we felt like the viola part might be waves and then the cello is kind of overarching over that. So it's just been really cool to talk about the different characters from the point of view of the music and the painting.
Yeah, as Sydney said, it was really fun to like work through like all the different textures that were occurring throughout the piece, and what our unique instruments could bring to evoke those characters and different textures. And yeah, it was just nice to go about it from like a painterly aspect, with the added like input from Gareth on like the process of what it was like to analyze the painting and then depart from it. So it gave us a lot of also like freedom to like use that as a source of inspiration, but then create something else out of it.
That's beautiful. I love to hear about all the different components and all the ways that, June, you're painting and, you know, living in Marin County and having this relationship with nature can permeate through all of your different collaborative processes, even though you're based in different parts of the world. Like Amy and Sydney are in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's lovely to hear how that sort of can resonate without you really needing to communicate about it, just by feeling the music and looking at the painting. And I'm so excited to share this with everyone. And I was wondering if you had any other special details from this about the painting, about the composition, about the collaboration that you'd like to share before we sign off here.
Well, it definitely makes me want to go visit. I've never been, but seeing the painting and hearing the music, yeah, it's just can't wait to travel again and see it.
Well, you're welcome to, hopefully we can do something in person with this.
Yeah, that'd be so nice.
Yeah.
I
So,
love
That would
that.
be fun.
yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
come and look me up. Great to meet you in person eventually.